Forristicat here. Decided to put forward my thoughts on the season premiere of Mad Men. Because just aired in the States a couple of days ago. So yeah, I guess what I want to say mainly is that I forgot just how cerebral, how sort of this TV show really forces you to think for yourself as a viewer, and how everything has a lot of layers of meaning to it. And there's not many shows I can say that I've watched that when I do watch it, I'm watching for particular facial expressions, particular angle shots, clues within the scenery, in order to further my enjoyment or understanding of the TV show. And Mad Men is one of these TV shows where you really need to pay attention to these things. So I can totally understand why Mad Men is not everyone's cup of tea, because it requires some effort on part of the viewer. But I have other videos out there which talk about insulting the viewer's intelligence. And if anything, Mad Men is really a showcase of story writing that really does make you sort of work to understand the medium and the TV show. So with that in mind, I think Mad Men is a very good show of doing all these things. So basically, season 6 of Mad Men sees Donald Draper going to the beach, to Hawaii, and he's reading a book, I think Dante's Inferno. And I really like TV shows which reference themselves, or gives sort of like clues to the underlying themes and messages or the motifs for the seasons. And this one, you've got many different books being read. So now if you were to read that book, or get the Cliff's Notes version of that, you'll get insight into sort of where the story arc of Mad Men may or may not go. It's obviously suggesting this is where our heads are at. The writers, they're doing these things for a particular reason. And that really does sort of color your experience of the TV show, given that you're given these clues to sort of put in the effort to read and understand, what sort of the sort of vibe or sort of messages are behind the TV series. So, and that's another thing, the fact that Megan is an actress herself, provides opportunity for the show to go meta on itself, which means that when she's talking about herself being an actress, or or characters and stuff like that, it's very much holding the mirror up that they're talking about themselves in the TV show as well. So to have this sort of semi David Lynchian sort of effect going on here, that they're talking about characters or story development and stuff, and the fact that they're in the TV show themselves, is another sort of hypnotic way to sort of engage in storytelling. So that's another thing I like about Mad Men, that they sort of very intentionally put that in there. What can I say, man? Like I said before in my other Mad Men review, who is Donald Draper is the main sort of focus question throughout this whole series. And above and beyond the storytelling, emotions and stuff like that, this is really a tour de force in character development. And the main girl that springs to mind is Peggy Olsen. They really do a good job of her coming from this very timid, self-conscious, concerned, unexperienced secretary, to this crack shot head of her own personal company, which in my opinion is somehow going to eclipse what's it called now, whatever Don's company is. And that is good, when you can sort of see where characters have come from and where they're going to. I guess another example is Walter White in Breaking Bad. It really does sort of show appreciation that these writers are thinking, okay, how do we get this character from point A to point B? Well, if all these events happen, then they'll end up like that. So I think because Donald Draper is such a complicated character, and it's taking so many seasons to understand him, and we still don't understand him, is really good. We're always getting different layers to who he is, and that's something that's going to be explored in this season, and probably right to the end of the season, I'm guessing. Well, when the show actually ends. So I'm looking forward to that. What else? Okay, so we got like Roger Sterling back. He's what a great character he is. Like just like whenever I see like a scene with him, it's just I don't know, he's just very like charismatic. He's very funny, obviously like trying to comfort his secretary over the death of his wife. You know, like holding 2 drinks in his hand. Very funny. January Jones. People are saying like her acting's a little bit off. I can sort of see where they're coming from, but it's really sort of hard for me to watch these family scenes where like they're sort of going downhill, like in terms of they're just the way their daughters, well just the way their families are acting weird, making references to coffins and stuff like that. But the whole like speech at the end about the jumping off point and how he's talking about death, and I saw like a I saw someone mention online, it's pretty much like Donald Draper is angry with who he is and he wants to die. And I do agree like with people that have said that like the whole him falling, the main title sequence where he's falling down out of the sky with all his advertisements around him, that could very well be the ending to Mad Men. And I reckon somehow there is going to be some sort of fight or whatever where everyone goes crazy, everyone goes mad, and Donald Draper just gets pushed out or throws himself off the top of the building, and you'll see him falling and hit a car or whatever. There'll be like some sort of advertisement nearby or whatever, and obviously like he has to go through some more development for that to happen. But nevertheless, I think that eventually Donald Draper is gonna commit suicide personally. And I think like the main thing is that just these lives, these guys have guys that live like drinking during the day, cheating on their wives a million times, being surrounded by so much wealth and like chances for growth, but at the same time shooting themselves in the foot. And where it really counts in terms of family and being happy with themselves as people, they're not. So it goes to show if you're successful in business, that's not all. There's like fundamental character flaws that each one of our characters have, and it's really showing them trying to overcome these character flaws. But like a tiger can't change their stripes, so somehow I'm guessing they're going to sort of it's always going to hold them down in some way, which is going to lead to particular storylines developing over other storylines. But that's the nature of this show, and it's a very there's no spoilers for this show. Like the producers like keep these spoilers locked out. Even have you seen the trailers for the next episode to these Mad Men episodes? Like it's like the weirdest trailers ever. It's just like one line cut, one line cut, one line cut. So you never sort of really know where it's going to go. And it's a very slow burning show, much like The Wire. Like you can't. It's not like balls to the wall action. Like you really have to be patient with it. And like I mentioned before, like you have to appreciate the subtleties in this TV show to enjoy it. I remember I started watching season 1 a long time ago. I didn't really enjoy it at first, but then I'm like, oh, okay, I actually have to use my brain here. I actually have to think about these themes. I have to think about like the directing, the writing, like the subtle glances that characters give them. But probably like the thing I most like about this is like there's no explanation given. Like you have to think for yourself, like I mentioned. So for example, like they'll show like a character shot and you'll see their eyes sort of like glance down and they'll be thinking about something, or someone will say a line and then like it'll cut to a particular character, and so it's like, okay, they're giving us these clues to the storyline, which is only going to work out. We're only going to work it out if we take it all together. In terms of like the references to these, Dante's Inferno, commentaries on each other, just the whole subtext behind it. I think it's the best way to put it. Like the whole, I know it sounds like woo-woo or whatever, but like the whole vibe behind what's happening on screen is more important than actually what is happening on screen. And like I said, like you can't say that for many TV shows. But Mad Men is one of those TV shows where you actually need to work for it and put all the puzzle pieces together. What else happens in this episode? Yeah, like I said, it ends with that Hawaii jumping off thing, and the advertising executives or like people that need the advertising is like where did they go to? Where's this guy? And he's like, oh, maybe he's gone for a swim or whatever. And I thought it'd be interesting if Donald Draper sort of like fakes his own death, or like goes away temporarily somewhere. But yeah, the whole thing with the lighter, how like the lighter got returned to him like by the maid sort of picking up out of the bin because she was all worried that she was going to get accused of stealing. That whole quote from the 60s, like sometimes you have to deal with stuff that's not your bag or whatever, and you're just him thinking about it. So yeah, I mean, I could repeat it 1,000 times. It's always about like the way these characters are reacting to each other, and the way that you get close-ups of their faces, and you got to think, okay, what's this person thinking given this this plot point? And like I mentioned in one of my other videos, like if you're watching a good TV show, you're going to be continually asking yourself, what does this scene add to the storyline or plot, or what does that say about this character, or what does this add to this character's personality? And with these things in mind, like you can sort of like develop your sort of relationship with the characters yourself personally. You can understand where they're coming from, and you can appreciate a good TV show which doesn't sort of force, doesn't spoon feed you. Like you do actually need to work to make this like an interesting TV show. And that's not to say it's not interesting, that's just saying that you actually have to it's not like an easy accessible TV show. It took me like a while to to warm up to it. But when I went on these marathons, I'm like, what? Yeah, this is a good TV show. And some of the scenes are just ridiculous. Like the scene where like the tractor gets brought into the office and like someone's like ankles get ruined. There's like blood on the walls and everything like that. And yeah, like you need to have those downtown moments to have your uptime moments. And this series is like just a slow burning drama which has a lot of downtime moments, but when you go looking for the explanation for why a character did something, that is sort of where the plot happens, like in your head when you're working this stuff out for yourself. And like I'm starting to sympathize with Betty Draper now in the situation she's in. Like she's got a new husband, she thought everything would be okay. She seems sort of happy, but going to one of those crack houses or crack dens, she's sort of like seeing how other people actually live. The whole fact that Don wants to become someone who he's not, but he's sort of trying to fight against that, but he's just always coming back to like cheating on his wife again, and just not realizing what he has, even though he has everything. Like there's something deeper that he wants, and maybe that's to understand who he is, or maybe it's just him realizing that maybe he never will understand who he is. But nevertheless, regardless of that, that's one question which is going to be sort of put to us time and time again, and that is of course, who is Donald Draper? So Man returns, fantastic, watch it, good TV show. Forristicat out.